Welcome back to the Redneck Racing Channel, guys. In this episode, we're going to be putting together my small block Chevy. So we are doing a live stream while we're recording this. So if you guys want to see that live stream, the full everything of us building this, it'll be linked up there, wherever that button is. So if you want to watch that, check it out.
Step number one of putting this together is we got the camshaft in. We didn't really record it putting it in. It's on the live stream if you want to see us putting it in. But we put the camshaft in before the crankshaft this time so that we could reach down in here and help guide the camshaft along. And then at this point, if we wanted to, we could go and apply more goop to each of the lifters. But as you can see, we got the lifters gooped up with cam grease. And we probably want to hit that thing up. We can put some on the distributor.
Yeah.
The cam is in. We're going to be degreeing that later. We need the pistons in for our top dead center digicals. So we'll be degreeing it after we get the pistons in. Right now we're going to work on building the bottom end. We got the bottom end spec'd out. You can watch that in another video where we check clearances and show you guys how to make sure you're going to have good oiling to your crankshaft, because this is where you want your oil, in here on the crankshaft. That's probably the most important place to have oil. And so if you have clearances that are too tight or too small, that's a problem. And then we also checked thrust this way. Everything on the bottom end is in spec. The bearing clearances are a tad on the tight side, but it should have some good oil pressure then. And yeah, so we're going to throw the crank in, maybe show you guys a little bit of that, and then we'll be on to putting in pistons, and yeah, we're just going to keep trucking away at this. We're back. Peter just went ahead and grabbed this crankshaft and basically threw it in, and I didn't get a chance to record it going in. But right now we're greasing up the tops. You could even hit these too if you want.
I'll get those when we do our...
I should find some Protect the Floor 9000s. There. Now you can make a mess. Move your foot. There.
You grind it, crank?
He polished it. So yeah, polished crank. It had been ground, what was it? Ground 30 thousandths on the mains, 20 thousandths on the rods. No, yeah.
I think that's right.
Because when we originally checked the main clearances, if you guys, like I said, if you guys want to see that, in that video we actually explained what to do when your bearing clearances are wrong, because we actually had way too much clearance the first time. So we're gonna torque down all this. I'll put all the main caps on, and we'll be back when that's all torqued down, because that's just a lot of watching Peter struggle to torque the bolts down.
Whatever.
I'll show you guys what we're doing after that. Alright guys, we got the bottom end almost completely done. We almost have a complete short block here. We got the all the main caps torqued down. The crankshaft is in for good. And we have 7 out of the 8 pistons in. We don't have them torqued down yet. We're just throwing all the pistons in. And as you can see, we just have this last one left to go. So we've just been cleaning them off with a little bit of carb cleaner, just to get all the old grease and dirt off of them.
We already previously cleaned these up once.
Yeah.
But a little bit of oil that's just stuck to them yet. So.
Here. Basically, you want to make sure that you just put oil on everything.
Holy
That's
Christmas in July,
way
dude.
too much.
That is a lot.
Perfect. Well, that's about how much I put on all the other ones.
Well, I know they don't need lubrication for at least another year.
Well, You'll probably want it about 10 seconds after it fires up.
Probably.
We got the old vacuum caps on the thread part of the piston rods.
You do this to
bolts.
protect your crank journals.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the big ratchet, the nice one. How far was that thing in there?
What do you mean?
I won't pull you.
How many threads is in there? Like a ton?
Okay.
Say when.
That's good.
That's fine.
That's just to make sure the crank journal is as far away from the piston as it can be. So then you get you a piston ring compressor that you stole from your uncle.
That's kind. Free.
It was probably purchased in 1980 something. The piston ring compressor is probably as old as my car.
It's older than you, that's for sure.
It is definitely older than me.
And it still works. Kind of.
Works good enough for who it's for, that's for sure.
Good enough for girls we roll with.
Right here, bud. Oop, there you go. There you go. Here's the other.
Gooping up the cap as well. What?
Flex it. Paint or something. Sure.
Make sure when you're lining these up, the big bevel goes towards the crankshaft. The smaller, both sides are beveled, but
The bigger, the one with the lip on
the
it.
main beveled edge is the beveled edge. That side goes towards the crank, and then the flat edge, or the very small bevel, goes towards the other connecting rod. Alright guys, so we're gonna finish putting in the rest of these bolts, or, well, torque them down. They're all in. They go to about 45 foot-pounds, 40 to 45 foot-pounds. And then we'll have the bottom end complete. We can start putting on the heads and some of the more fun stuff. So, we'll be back when we start assembling the top end. Okay guys, I figured I'd take this time to talk about what the heads are and what kind of cam we got going into this engine. The cam is a Lunati Bracketmaster 2 camshaft. The heads are Edelbrock Easy Street cylinder heads. Now you can actually see the part number for the heads there in the bottom right of the box. Just a couple specs on the heads. They have 185cc intake runners, 60 or 65cc exhaust runners, not exactly sure on that. They have 2.20 intake valves, 160 exhaust valves. They're fully aluminum. They got guide plates and dual valve springs. They flow at the lift we have on this cam, probably about 250 CFM on the intake. They're not crazy, but they are going to be much better than stock cast iron heads. The cam, like I said, is a Lunati Bracketmaster 2 camshaft. The part number is 101-204-12, just in case you're curious. It has 510 thousandths of lift, intake and exhaust. It has an advertised duration of 305 degrees, intake and exhaust, a lot of duration. And duration at 50 thousandths, is 245 degrees intake and exhaust, and it has a lobe separation of 108. So there's a couple quick specs on some of the performance parts we got in this engine, just in case you guys are curious. We figure this engine will make about 400 horsepower with the parts that we're putting on it. So without further ado, we'll get right back into the rest of the engine build. Alright guys, like we said, we are knocking the rest of this out. We got the cam all degreed, we have our piston to valve clearance checked. If you want to see that, watch our engine science video. This video we're just going to be putting stuff together. So we got the heads going on right now. Hey, do we have an oil pan gasket?
The gasket's over there.
Where's that at?
The timing chain thing is going first.
Yeah, I know. If you're going to O'Reilly's to get a gasket. It's the first time this engine's had both heads on.
Got the other setup up, bro. Dude, that looks spicy as heck.
Yep. That is, look at that beauty right there. It is almost done, ladies and gentlemen. It is almost done. So we literally just got parts to put on now. I mean, it's all just, we're just going to be putting in bolts as fast as we can at this point, and it's going to, after that goes on, intake's got to go on, throw the valve covers on. We got a new water pump, electric water pump, new alternator. We'll have to find the brackets for it. All the bracketry is over here.
I may not have all the bracketry for the alternator, I can't remember.
We will have to put the oil pump on the bottom before we throw the oil pan on. But yeah, we gotta put the timing chain cover on before we can put the oil pan on, because that's the one dumb thing about small block Chevys, I ain't gonna lie.
Yep.
You should be able to take that timing chain cover off without needing to take the oil pan off. Yes, you can.
But we're way too cheap, and this build isn't spicy enough to need that, really.
Correct. Alright guys, well, we're just going to probably give you a couple, 2-3 updates as we go along, as we throw parts on. Peter's got to go to O'Reilly's to get a timing chain cover gasket, and me and Josh are going to have the funness of torquing down the heads. There is the finished product. At least the look. There's still stuff we gotta do to it before it'll run, obviously, but that's pretty much what it's gonna look like. So we even put the exhaust headers on to really give it the complete look. I got the distributor in basically just to keep dust out of the hole. Valve covers are on, all the shiny parts are on. We got the starter on down there. Electric water pump. Got the balancer painted, put that on. Set the carburetor on. I took the air cleaner off of my car. Just to complete the look. There you have it. Peter's spicy small block Chevrolet that we're going to be putting in his 1981 Camaro Nightmare.